Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for the Week 20 waiver wire video. If you haven't yet, guys, please hit the subscribe button and drop a like on this video. If you are already subscribed, guys, consider taking your support to the next level by going down in the description below and checking out my Patreon. There's some pretty cool perks there for not a lot of money. It's like $2.50 US or $3 Canadian per month, and you get to DM with me one-on-one, ask me as many questions as you want or you need to make sure that your fantasy lineup is always optimal and ideal, and I try to answer every single day. Alright, so I'm not going to waste any more time, guys. Let's jump right into the schedule for this week, and as you can see on Monday, February 26th, there are 4 games. Tuesday there are 12, Wednesday 2, Thursday 12, Friday 3, Saturday 13, and Sunday 6. So the off nights, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, they're a whole lot less busy than the busy nights. So you might actually have pretty full lineups on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday because there are a lot of teams playing. So you might want to be prioritizing off night players this week. Now, which teams have the best schedule in terms of off nights? That is the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers play Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. So 4 games, including 3 off nights. The Capitals do as well. They play Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. So again, 4 games with 3 off nights, which is pretty great. Then there are 3 teams that play 4 games with 2 off nights. Those teams are Arizona, LA, and the Ottawa Senators. Now, there are 3 teams that don't really have the greatest schedule this week. Those teams are Chicago, Calgary, and the New York Rangers. The best of the 3 is the Rangers because the Wednesday game that they have is on an off night at the very least, but 2 games is really not a lot where a lot of teams are playing 4 games this week. Let's jump into some forward options now, and the first guy on the list is Patrick Kane of the Detroit Red Wings. I couldn't believe it when I saw that he was actually below 70% rostered. This dude has been insane since coming back from injury. There hasn't been a single game since he came back where he has not recorded a point. I believe that's 7 games straight now. Go ahead and add him now if somehow he's still available in your league before it's too late. The next guy I have on this list is pretty hot right now, playing on the second line with Casey Middlestat, as well as the top power play in Buffalo, and that is Dylan Cousins. He's 60% rostered, probably deserves to be rostered a little bit higher than that, considering he's pretty hot right now, and that right wing eligibility definitely helps his value a decent amount as well. Then you got Brian Rust playing on the top line with Sidney Crosby and Rickard Rakell, also playing on the top power play right now in Pittsburgh. There are a couple injuries now in Pittsburgh, so we also have Lars Eller on the top power play, which is interesting, but Rust is still pretty hot, guys. He's one of the best players over there, getting great deployment, and definitely needs to be added in more leagues. Then we got Boone Jenner of the Columbus Blue Jackets, who's on a nice 5-game point streak, and over those 5 games, he's gotten 5 goals and 3 assists. He is sizzling hot right now, and he's definitely someone that I like picking up right now. He's such a great player, not only for the points, he's got a lot of peripherals as well. He shoots, he hits, he even blocks a little bit, and if you have face-off wins in your league, this guy is an absolute juggernaut. Juraj Slafkovsky, yeah, he's finally cooled down. 2 games without a point, and some people are already dropping him. That's absolutely insane in my opinion, guys. Juraj Slafkovsky has shown what he can do now, and yeah, he's cooled down for a couple games. So what? He's a guy who can definitely be a season-long hold on that great top line with Suzuki and Caulfield. I would definitely suggest holding Slafkovsky. Next is my Manscaped must-add player of the video, Gabe Vilardi. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code word FANTASYTIPPED at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code word FANTASYTIPPED. Embrace a new you and definitely embrace a new trimmer, courtesy of Manscaped. Now, why is Gabe Vilardi my Manscaped must-add player of the video? Well, the dude is back to being scorching hot. And yeah, there was a really long period between when he was white hot and now that he's white hot again, where he did absolutely nothing. But he's that kind of player, right? He'll go off for a long period of time and then he'll just go completely quiet for a long period of time. And now he's hot again, guys, so you need to add him now. Over the last 3 games, he has 4 goals and 5 assists. That's 9 points over 3 games. Yes, you need this guy in your lineup right now before somebody else takes him away. Then I have Troy Terry and Mason McTavish, who are playing on the top line and top power play in Anaheim. Both are pretty hot right now, and both make excellent adds this week. Sean Monahan, of course, right after I say, yeah, might want to consider dropping Sean Monahan soon, he goes off and scores a goal, follows it up by another game with 3 goals, and then a game after that with another goal. So Sean Monahan's pretty hot right now and is getting top power play time, and as long as he's playing well, guys, definitely belongs in your lineup if you do have room for a natural center. Dylan Strome right now is doing really, really well, playing top power play, top line with a seemingly revitalized Alexander Ovechkin, who figured out how to score goals again. That's good news for you guys that are streaming Dylan Strome, because the Capitals also have a very good off-night schedule this week. Shane Pinto, someone who's getting second line and top power play deployment right now in Ottawa, which is definitely not bad, and he's done pretty decently with it. He's definitely not a must-add or anything like that, but I think that he's a pretty good add, especially if you're in a deeper league and he's available, and there's not much out there on the wire. Nick Foligno is an excellent add right now. He's very, very hot right now, playing on the top line with Connor Bedard and Philip Kurashev. That line is doing very, very well. Obviously, Bedard seems to be sparking Foligno, who hasn't scored offensively like this in a long time, but it's nice to see. And as long as Bedard's healthy, Foligno should be putting up points, and his peripherals to go along with it are pretty nice as well. Just keep in mind, Chicago doesn't have the best schedule this week with only 2 games, so you could consider only grabbing him in a couple of weeks if you think that nobody's going to take him this week. Nicolas Roy of the Vegas Golden Knights is still a great ad, guys. I don't know why nobody's adding this guy. He's basically a point per game since he's been thrust into that top line center position, and he's getting top line, and he's getting power play 1 deployment as well. This dude's definitely in a position to succeed, and he's got the talent to do it. Bobby McMann is playing on the 3rd line right now with Jonathan Tavares, and he's pretty hot right now. I'm not sure how long this kind of hot play is going to continue, but as long as he's scoring goals, it's hard to not pick him up right now. Warren Fogle is a great ad for the Edmonton Oilers for the off nights. If you're looking for someone for the off nights, he is playing on the top line right now with McDavid and Hyman. As long as he keeps deployment like that, definitely merits a spot in your lineup. Philip Kurashev is another guy who doesn't have the best schedule this week because the Chicago Blackhawks only play 2 games, but he's definitely someone to keep an eye on. Maybe at the end of the week, or if you've definitely already got the week in the bag, Kurashev can be a guy that you add because he's playing on that top line with Bedard and Foligno and is putting up a point basically every single game. Tommy Novak is playing super well, still putting up about a point per game. Nobody's noticing this guy. It's absolutely crazy, but he's definitely starting to turn on the Jets. Love to see it. Anthony Mantha and Connor McMichael of the Washington Capitals are playing on the 2nd line right now. They're both getting second power play time for the most part, and they're playing pretty well right now. Honestly, it's hard to complain when a 2% and 1% rostered guy is playing as well as they are right now, and the Capitals have a favorable schedule this week in terms of off nights, so definitely not bad ads for those off nights if you are in a deep league. And finally, Jack Roslovic of the Columbus Blue Jackets is playing on the top line with Johnny Gaudreau and Boone Jenner, and those guys are both very, very hot right now. Yeah, Johnny Gaudreau is actually playing well, which is absolutely super nice to see, honestly. And Roslovic is benefiting from it. So definitely someone that is not a terrible ad if you're in a deep league. In terms of defense, Thomas Harley has been exceptional this year. I don't have much more to say about him. He's been a top 20 defense over the last couple months in most leagues. And he's just someone who doesn't even need the power play 1 deployment to be good, and that's why he's an excellent ad. Zach Werenski, up to 66% rostered, should be rostered in well over 70% of leagues, guys. He's very hot right now, and he's Columbus's power play 1 quarterback. Jake Sanderson is currently Ottawa's power play 1 quarterback. Not overly hot right now, but the opportunity is there. Matisse Ekholm. If you have room for an Oilers defenseman for the off nights, Ekholm is actually a pretty good streamer. He's doing pretty well right now. He puts up points every 2 or 3 games at the very least, and puts up some decent peripherals, so he's definitely never a bad streamer. And then Jeremy Lauzon has been fantastic all year with the amount of hits he's putting up. So if you're in a Bangers league or in a Cats league that you need some hits, definitely Jeremy Lauzon is not a bad pick. Obviously, the points that he's been putting up lately, that's not going to continue, but the floor is going to be there with Lauzon. Torrey Krug at 28% rostered has been pretty good lately, still putting up points fairly frequently, and as long as he's doing that, he is getting top power play time, so he merits a spot in your lineup. Nick Seeler is someone who's provided an insanely safe floor all year long, and he should continue to do that. So definitely you need a floor. Sealer's a guy to do that. Pavel Mintyukov is getting top power play time with the likes of Troy Terry, Mason McTavish. It's a decent top power play, and he's actually been putting up points lately, which is nice to see. Brent Clark is someone who's getting PP2 right now in LA. And on a week where LA does play 4 games, it doesn't hurt to give him a shot. He's putting up points through a few games that he's played so far, so why not stream him? See how he does. If he starts to suck the first couple of games, you can consider dropping him. He's definitely not my favorite ad here by any means. I don't think this year is really his year where he breaks out, but it could be. So you can still throw a dart at him and hope that he starts to put up the points. And finally, Simon Benoit, who I also suggested last week, is still putting up a pretty safe floor with those hits and some other peripherals. If you need goalies, Alex Lyon is still the starter in Detroit, playing very, very well. Peter Kochetkov is a starter in Carolina, also playing pretty well. Luukkonen has absolutely seized that starting position in Buffalo and is getting basically every start for Buffalo. You don't have to worry about the Levi competition because Levi is in the AHL. Samuel Ersson is getting basically all the starts for Philly. Carter Hart's not going to play again this year, guys, so Ersson is a pretty good streamer. John Gibson is a starter for Anaheim. Hasn't been that great lately, if I'm being honest with you, but he's still continuing to get all the starts, so you just got to hope that he, stops a few more pucks in the next couple of weeks there. Peter Mrazek's been one of the best goalies in the league. I say this every single week. I have him on my list every single week, and he's just been fantastic, guys. He is on a terrible, terrible hockey team, and he continuously puts up good numbers and even puts up wins every now and then. He gives their team a chance to win every single night that he plays. Charlie Lindgren of the Washington Capitals is their starter seemingly right now. He got a couple starts in a row, won them both, so I would think that Washington's going to deploy him at least 2 out of their 4 games, maybe 3, and those games are on off nights, so definitely not a bad guy to be streaming here. Nico Dawes was playing phenomenally, had a couple of bad starts in a row here, but I believe Vanacek is still injured, so Dawes should continue to see the starts. Obviously, it's kind of a lot for a workload for a guy who is not used to starting this much, so there's a reason he's not playing as well, but definitely could be a season-long hold if he starts to turn it around once again. Anton Forsberg, I have him here because Ottawa plays 4 games next week, and there's 2 sets of back-to-backs. So both Korpisalo and Forsberg should get 2 starts next week. So both are decent streamers for next week. And finally, Yaroslav Askarov is someone that I'm looking at right now. If you have an NA spot that's empty, throw him on there because Saros, it looks like he's going to be traded. There's about a 50% chance, maybe more, that Saros is going to be moved at this trade deadline. And if there's not a goalie coming back, that means that Askarov is suddenly Nashville's starting goalie. He is their goalie of the future, so it would just make sense. And if that's the case, guys, definitely someone that should be added in more leagues. He's got a lot of talent and should be the starter for the rest of the year. So definitely something to keep in mind. If Saros gets traded, you're going to be adding this guy right away. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed my content today, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.